All right, welcome everyone to the October meeting tonight, where we'll hear from Ann Mytych and Lisa Burke about their trip to Southeastern Arizona in April of 2023. This was Ann's third trip to Arizona, but her first time in the Sierra Vista and Portal. Isn't that correct, Ann? And let's see, and the many birding hotspots there. For Lisa, it was her first out-of-state birding trip. And when Ann invited her, she says, unsurprisingly, that she jumped at the chance. To quote you earlier today, Ann got into birding in 2015 when she was walking near home with her camera and saw a red-shouldered hawk at close range. Later that year, on a business trip to Texas, Ann went to the National Butterfly Center in Mission, Texas. Some of you hopefully probably have been there. Great place. And as she was then quite interested in butterflies. To her surprise, she also saw great birds like the green jay and the Altamira oriole at the Butterfly Center and was, she told me, hooked on life for birds and hopefully still butterflies. Yes, she's nodding yes. Lisa took up birding in the spring of 2020 when she was working from home during the pandemic. She had put up bird feeders in the line of sight of her desk and saw a male American goldfinch in bright breeding plumage at one of the feeders, which was her spark bird. Lisa then bought binoculars and started using the Merlin app Bird ID Help. She went on her first MBC walk in the fall of 2020, which was led by Ann. And they've been birding friends ever since. So enough of me. Please welcome Ann Mytych and Lisa Burke to tell us about their Arizona trip.
Okay, so Lisa and I are going to do this together. I'm going to start first because I got to Arizona earlier than she did. She joined me about halfway through the trip. So I'm going to start at the beginning of my trip, which I started out. Anyways, it's called Finding Birds, Getting Lost, and Winning the Prize in Southeastern Arizona, April 2023. So I first flew into Phoenix because I'd been there before, and there's this great place there called the Gilbert Preserve at Gilbert Water Ranch. It's really close to the airport. So I took a quick swing over there. They have all these wonderful ponds there. It's really even better in the winter, as you can imagine, because they have all kinds of ducks there. Like this lovely ruddy duck who was in nice breeding plumage. And they also have some sections that have really good shorebirds. Okay. So after Phoenix, I drove down to Tucson, which is another place I had birded in the past and really loved it there. And there's a place called Sweetwater Wetlands. I'm sure some of you guys have been there. And I went there and actually on a Tucson Audubon walk and got there really early in the morning. And I saw my first Bell's Vireo first time. I had followed this guy around. He was singing and I could not find him. Driving, walking around in circles trying to find him. I finally had to go like through some bushes before I could finally find him. And Lucy's warbler, I saw this bird almost everywhere I went. This is the best picture I got. This bird moves more than a kinglet. I mean, I swear to God, they would not stand still for more than 2 seconds. So Gamel's quail is another bird that I saw at the Sweetwater Wetlands. And usually these guys are running through the underbrush and it's hard to catch them. So this one was just sitting out on a wire. So I was very happy. Got a nice little shot of him. Do you have the clicker anymore? They don't have the clicker. All right. So next, see if that works. Oh. Okay. So after Tucson, I drove toward Patagonia, which is a famous corridor for birding, as many of you probably know. And I stopped in the Patton Center for Hummingbirds and saw these lovely broad-billed male and females. They have these really cool feeders set up there. They have them everywhere. They have them in the front yard, they have them in the backyard, and they have like numbered stations. I don't know why they do that, but it probably helps them keep track. I don't know, but I thought it was really cool. You probably can, maybe when you're doing a report, I saw a broad-billed at station 5. I don't know. You know? Oh, okay. I thought that was really cool. Next. And this was a really special bird there, violet crowned hummingbird. A lot of people were looking for that. It was considered rare while I was there, and I think I had to wait about 25 minutes for it to show up, and it was worth the wait. And lark sparrow. This one I wasn't expecting to. I mean, I figured I'd see at least one, but I wasn't expecting to see this one. I was walking on this sort of side path at Patton, and just looking for birds. It was really quiet over there, and then all of a sudden, this guy popped out from the grass and posed so nicely for me. It's like I was meant to meet him. And these are also from Patton. There were a lot of these last eyes, every beautiful males. This is the first time I've ever seen a male. I'd seen females before, but never males. And so just a beautiful blue color. I just got a really big kick out of that. Hmm? Yeah, and the Inca, I said that first, Inca dove. And I think that's really cool. It looks like almost like something out of, it's sculpted. I think it's beautiful. Okay, these are more from Patton. Ladder-backed woodpecker, the bridle tip notes, and the Gila, is that right? Gila woodpecker? Is that how you say it? Really cool. I thought it was funny that it was on the hummingbird feeder. Drink, I guess he was thirsty for some sweets. I don't know. Next slide. Okay, so the next day I went to or headed down toward Ramsey Canyon. And on the road, on the way, in the middle of the road was this lovely turkey. Oh, thanks. Just doing his thing, just making his display. And even if I wanted to go around him, which I didn't, I couldn't have. He was like literally in the middle of the road. And as you can see, there were some females on the side watching him. He was putting on quite a display. He's dancing this way and he's dancing this way. And I have a thing for turkeys. I don't know if everybody ever told you about this, but whenever I go to like places like Arizona, Colorado, California, I see turkeys like as far close to me as you are. When I try to find them in Maryland, they're like 80 feet away and they're like running in the underbush and I got nothing. So I have a very just fascinating love for these guys. So I was very happy. So then I went into the Ramsey Canyon area, and I got my very first black-headed grosbeak, which was very exciting because I'd looked for this bird in on other trips that I couldn't find it, so I was very happy. And the black-chinned hummingbird and the greater peewee, which is up on the trail. Once I got into the preserve area, so the Ramsey Canyon, there's a Ramsey Canyon Inn, which is like a bed and breakfast, and it's right up against the reserve. So I basically birded both areas on the same day and walked up the trail, and I was very excited to get the greater peewee. That was also a lifer for me. And it took me about maybe 10 minutes to find him. I could hear him singing in this big, huge tree that just covered the entire trail. And, it was just huge. And I was like, where is he? It was just driving me crazy. But I finally found him. And then he let me take his picture. So I was very happy about that. And the painted red star also, he popped up over my head and I was trying to I couldn't get a like eye level picture because he just would not come lower. He just kept hopping around up there, but that was the best picture I could get. Oh, Ash Canyon Bird Sanctuary. That's cool. That used to be a bed and breakfast and then it closed and became a sanctuary. I forget who runs, there was a name, I have that written down somewhere who ran it. It's run by a nonprofit group. Southeastern Bird Observatory, sorry. And the star of the show that day was the Lucifer hummingbird, and people were waiting for this to show up. He came by about every 20 minutes or so. And of course, this camera started clicking as soon as he came into view. And he hung around for a while, like 5 or 6 minutes, and then disappeared again for a while. And some more beautiful birds from Ash Canyon. Scott's Oriole, which is also a lifer for me. And Townsend's warbler, and the Costas hummingbird. And I've seen I love the acorn woodpecker. I've seen this bird before, but I just love the way I love birds in water. I have this thing for birds in water. So when he landed on this like fountain area, I was like, oh, I gotta get this picture. I was very happy. I'm always happy when I'm with birds, so but I can be extra happy, you know, when they're super cooperative with me. This was taken at San Pedro House, which is along the San Pedro River, which at the time was very, very like completely dry. It was like a drop of water in the river. And this house had like a lot of trees and different kinds of habitat. And when this bird came into view, I looked for this bird for before too, and in different places. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, this has got to be it's got to be a gilded woodpecker. And I waited for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. I was like, open your wings. I got to see your wings. I got to see your wings. Because over there they have their as you may know, the northern flickers have red shaft, but if you see yellow shaft, then it's going to be a gilded. And he also has a nice, more distinct cinnamon cap on the top too, which is a nice field mark. So I was very happy to see that as well. He finally opened his wings for me. It's like, yay. Scaled quail in Hereford. So I went into this place called Baptiste Birds, Beds and Breakfast or something like that. And so I got there and it was kind of late afternoon and not too much, just a couple hummingbirds, and then I saw some Gambel's quails, and I made a comment to the owner of the place, Tony Baptiste, very nice guy. And he said, "Oh, you like the Gambel's quail?" He's like, "How would you have you seen a scaled quail?" I said, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Would you like to see one?" I said, "Yes, I would." So he gave me directions where to go. It's like this little neighborhood, it's like a dirt street, and there were like just like this houses with like empty lots next to them. And it was right exactly where he said they would be. And there were two of them. This picture was the best one of the ones I got. So I got that one. And then he said, oh, and then he says to me, come back later for the owl show. I'm like, the owl show? What are you talking about, the owl show? He's like, yeah, we have elf owls living on the property. I'm like, shut up. No, I didn't say that. I was thinking that in my head. Because I had seen a report that an elf owl had been, at that location. And I thought it was just a happenstance, like somebody just happened to hear an elf owl, while they were there. But I didn't know it actually lived there. And he's like, oh, yeah, people come at night and we watch the owls. And they've been living there for at that point, so it's probably longer than that now, but it was 19 years. They've been coming back every year and breeding in the telephone pole, which you can go to the next one. Or it might be later. I think I saved it for later because so I saved it for when Lisa. But anyways, there's a telephone pole right in their front yard, and the birds nest in there, and so we got to see them flying around looking for food. And apparently there was a third elf owl that would come in like second male, and was trying to like encroach in the territory, and they have a little scuffle. They one little scuffle while I was there. Oh, and then so the next day was the 22nd, and was the day I was going to pick up Lisa from the airport, and I wanted to find someplace kind of on the way. So I found this place called Karchner Caverns. And this bird, which I love, the Pyroluxia, I had seen before, but I had never gotten a picture. I'm looking and looking every time I go, why won't you stand still? And I had seen it 3 times before on this trip. No picture. I'm like, come on, man. And so I finally started walking on this trail, and I hear him saying, I'm like, oh. And as I approaching, I'm like, please stay still, please, please, like begging you, please stay still. And so I finally got the picture. I was very, very happy on that day. And then now it's Lisa's turn. So we picked her up at the airport, and we went, the first stop was Madeira Canyon, cranking up that life list.
Yeah, you got to give me the other mic too.
Oh.
One moment, please.
Oh, it came out.
Oh. Test. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. All right, I'm ready. Thank you for your patience. Nice to see you all, and thank you for, oh, you're gonna make me stand up here alone? No, I'm kidding. You can- But anyway, this was such a great trip, and Anne planned it all out. So I definitely recommend her guide experience. So she picked me up from the airport, and we stopped at Madeira Canyon. And because it was my first birding trip, I didn't know what to expect. And there was a visitor center with lots of feeders lined up in different environments for the birds. And it was like a bonanza of all these birds and lots of hummingbirds. And these were two notable. This one? Okay, gotcha. Madeira Canyon. Yeah. Yeah. And these were a couple of the notable birds that we saw there, the acorn woodpecker and the Mexican jay. And then also at Madeira Canyon, the hepatic tanager female. And here is the elf owl at Batiste's Bird Garden. So this bird, like Anne was describing, they the people that live on the property host these nightly events for, you know, people to watch the owls, and they're really, really respectful, and they use it was like red lights, correct? Yeah. So it didn't disturb the birds too much, and it was really a treat to see them. We got several really great views. Ash Canyon. So got to see the Lucifer hummingbird, golden crown sparrow, Cassin's finch, and the Bullock's oriole. A white-winged dove at Ash Canyon, which is, I really was into this bird. I mean, the eye of this bird was so captivating to me, and Anne just couldn't believe how interested I was in this bird because they're so common. There's tons of them. They're everywhere. And I didn't even know they were real. I'd just been hearing them in the song for, 40 years or whatever. And so it was nice to match up the bird with the lyrics. And Anne actually gave me this picture to commemorate our trip. So that was really nice. Okay, and we went on this owling excursion with a guide really deep into this canyon. And we really didn't see any owls. We saw a great horned owl, and what did we hear? We heard the Mexican whippoorwill and the rufous crowned sparrow and the red-faced warbler, which were really magical to see because it was kind of a sparse outing. There wasn't much happening, but so seeing these birds was really special. And because we were out at night in this remote, very dark area, the stars were incredible. There was no light pollution and there were no street lights, nothing. So it was really, really a nice thing to experience. And then back to Patagonia for Anne, but my first time. The dusky-capped and vermilion flycatchers, the broad-billed and violet-crowned and Anna's hummingbirds. Summer tanager, Patagonia. Look at that bird, just gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful. When I see it here, it's like 80 yards away. And then we were out, what's the place we were at, Anne, when we were driving and saw this bird? Yeah, we were, we were looking for, what were we looking for? Yeah. But anyway, we came across, pardon? Yeah. So yeah, we got to see a thick-billed kingbird out of the blue, which was really, really special as well. And then saw a gray hawk that was hidden behind some branches. We didn't get a picture, but we got some pretty good looks. Okay, on to Portal. So this was this was a nice little excursion to jump over to this other sweet birding spot. But to get there, you had to go through New Mexico. And there's no gas around for like 45 minutes around the town. So we had to be, we had to plan pretty well for how we were gonna get there and make sure that we were prepared. So in Portal itself, there's very little commerce. It's a very quiet area. There's a wonderful place there called the Portal Cafe. Definitely recommend stopping by there if you're ever in the area. Saw Swainson's hawk on Route 80. And then we went to this place called Cave Creek Ranch and saw a blue-throated mountain gem. Okay, and here we were at still at Cave Creek, evening grosbeaks, female black-headed grosbeak, juniper titmouse, and hooded oriole. And this was a really active place as well. Lots of feeders and different areas to walk around. The hepatic tanager at Cave Creek may be the prettiest color bird we saw. I don't know. That's her opinion. Those hummingbirds, I mean, they are just like flying jewels. But yes, a beautiful bird. And I'd never seen feeders with the jelly jars before, and there were tons of them out. So that was great. They definitely attracted a lot of birds. So the Portal Cafe that I mentioned has an outdoor seating area. The weather was absolutely gorgeous, and you can sit outside, and they also have feeders. And so it's very convenient to have your meal and watch the show. And actually, Mark has a great story about
Yeah, and is that far off the lodge motel?
Yes.
Okay, that's where we were. Years ago, my late friend Newman, past president of the club, and I went down there. He had been there before. My first trip, we're sitting in the cafe in the morning, only a few people there, but there was a very distinguished looking gentleman, just next table over with silver hair. And when he started speaking with a British accent, I realized it was David Attenborough.
of all places, right?
And of course, the picture of him, of course, I no longer know where it is. Great digital.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place, and we were very close to a tree that had great horned owl nestling just hanging out, not bothered at all by the people having lunch. There were a bunch of red crossbills around, broad-billed hummingbird, as well as Gambel's quail, Paraluxia, black-chinned hummingbird, white-winged dove, house finch, and pine siskin. Okay, more beauties in Portal. So there's lots of different spots to go to, and these birds, canyon towhee, black-throated sparrow, black-throated gray warbler, and chrysal thrasher, they were at that guy's house, right? Yeah. So, this person just has, his house is like a hot spot in Portal. And he had a bunch of feeders set up, and lots of great birds there too. Then this is our prize. Remember the title of the slideshow that Anne created? Cave Creek Trail South Fork Portal. So we heard there were elegant trogons out there, so we decided to go take a look, and we hiked and hiked and hiked, and we were just about to give up when across the dry creek bed, Anne spotted the bird and was like, and you know, that moment you just freeze, and there she was. She was this gorgeous, beautiful bird just hanging out. We didn't see the male, which would have been nice, but it was still really satisfying to see the female. Really, really special too. And then getting home turned out to be such an adventure because this area is super remote. And we used Google to try to get us to the airport. And it took us way out in nowhere. I mean, after the paved road ended, we ended up on this rocky for like 9 miles or something. And we kept hoping to see signs to get us onto the right trail or right road, and we just never ran into any. So we only saw signs for like cow crossings. And so what we ended up doing was going back to Portal. We saw a sign for Portal, went back there, went to the Portal Lodge and got directions, and decided to race to the airport. And that was actually a little stressful because we you know, you want to get as much birding in as possible. So well, it's didn't at a certain point we just gave up. We said, you know what? Let's just see if we can stay another day. And that actually turned out to be a gift. So because Anne had a way with person that she spoke to, we got to change our flights without any penalties or, you know, any problems at all. It was really easy. We found a place to stay. And ended up doing some more birding. Imagine that. So that was really kind of an unexpected gift. So this additional day brought us to Sweetwater Wetlands, and lots of birds, beautiful birds everywhere, but the cinnamon teal was really a highlight as well. And then the final tally. Okay, so Anne saw 157 birds in 9 days. She got 25 lifers. I saw 123 birds in 5 days, and I got 69 lifers, which is crazy to me, just absolutely crazy to me. So, you know, one bird at a time, that list grows. But, you know, it's really special when it all happens on a trip because the memories are really quite unique. So that was our trip. Thank you for listening. April. The weather couldn't have been more beautiful. There was no humidity. There weren't, you know, yeah. It wasn't too hot. It was great. Yes. All the pictures were taken in there. Yeah. Oh, they were bad. They were so bad. They were so bad. Tried to go for the Mexican chickadee, this one area, and we drove for, I don't know. We drove so much. Yeah. Like I'm getting.
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, the question, what was the question again? Oh, just about the paved roads and being in the mountains looking for Mexican chicken and getting pretty nervous because we're in this area and the roads were just terrible. Chiricahua National Monument is the picture that you're seeing on the screen right now. Why is that famous, Anne?
I have no idea. I just thought it was pretty.
I mean, it's beautiful. The landscape there is just gorgeous.
Okay, see,
Oh, okay, okay. So apparently Native Americans like to, hang out there. I mean, it's
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Yes, definitely. Any other questions, comments? Yes. How did we get the owl picture? It was actually pretty easy. The owls, we were able to like, if the owl, the telephone pole, like right there, we
Yeah,
were
we get
pretty
pictures
close.
of the bird in the telephone pole the first night. I 2 nights in a row, and Lisa the second night. And the first night they mainly stayed in the telephone pole, but then the second night there was like the little tussle between the two males. And one of them flew over close to the lodge, and everyone like followed it over there. And we got on the porch of the lodge, and it was like right on this tree branch, right out in the open. It was just fantastic. It was what? It was, but they had like a some kind of light, not like a bright, not like a blinding light, but just some kind of special light. Yeah. And I was able to take a picture, which I was very happy about. I requested a donation of $10. And they have that all over the place in that area, requesting donations of $10. I think they should do that here.
Yeah.
Like at Croydon Creek, so we can eat every day. I thought that was great. Oh, sorry. How did I pick my what? I did really
Please repeat the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. The question was, how do I pick like what locations? How did, yeah, well, how did I find the locations where I decided to go birding? I do a lot of research. Like I start researching like 3 months before I'm going somewhere, and I check a lot, eBird a lot for reports. I look for current reports, and I also go back in history. Like let's say I'm going in September, and I'm doing research in July. Well, that's not going to help me, so I go back to the previous September and look for what hotspots were and what kind of birds were at different hotspots in the area where I'm going to be traveling. So I just love doing research, and I'm happy to help people. If anybody wants to wants me to help them with research, I love doing research on birds. So. Oh, the field guide, yes. Okay, so this is a book called Finding Birds in Southeast Arizona, which I used on this trip. And this also helps. And it has really good tips on where to go, where to find birds, things to avoid and ways to get places easier and all that stuff. It's really highly recommended.
We actually thought we're gonna have encounters with snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Rattlesnakes.
Yes.
We brought snake gaiters, but we never wore them. I mean, we were lucky, but.
Yes, we were lucky, but yeah, we did not run into any snake.
They be, active and numerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, did we run into any other birding tour groups?
I don't, did we? I don't think
I don't
so.
think we ran into big, unless they were inconspicuous.
But we did.
but-
Funny story about the guide that we had. I tell them the
Yeah.
story about the owling guide
Yeah, yeah. yeah. One of the.
at Ash
Canyon.
And how
at
did
the
you,
same place.
I forget how you realized who he was.
I
or-
just recognized him from the out. Fun.
His name was Caden, Kadynn. It was an unusual name. I remember. And she's like, "Are you Caden?" He's like, "What?"
And he was
Yes.
Really young. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
could hear these things. that
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't even hear. We're
True.
out on our trip with him. It was fun. He worked really hard. To
Oh,
try
he
to
did.
find
He felt
out.
really bad that he couldn't get calls for us, but we were like, "Trust me, we're happy."
Just to be out at night under the stars with no light pollution. in a beautiful space that's, you know, it was a little tricky walking down.
Oh, yeah.
at night. It's dark. You know, had to really, walk carefully, but it was well worth it. Yeah. Hey. Well, thanks for listening. Appreciate it.